All right, mic check, mic check, mic check. Yo, Timeless, how's your mic doing?
Mine's okay.
All right, cool, cool. All right. Dames on the blockchain, how's your mic doing?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Good stuff. I think the only one here is I'm trying to work on my mic going on right here because it's real quiet up in my head for whatever reason. So just bear with me for right now. I'm gonna punch in these other ones because I broke those other headphones a couple weeks ago. One second. All right, can you all hear me? All
Yeah,
right,
I
cool.
can
All
hear you.
right, a lot better. F those other mics. All right, welcome everybody. For those of that are here already, thank you. I'm sure we'll have plenty of people to, come in a little bit later. Obviously, it doesn't matter. We're going to get started anyways. Um, as you know, for people that are going to be listening back, I know most of you here already know our spiel at the beginning, but I'm just going to go over it again for people that might listen back on later. Obviously, we are recording this space. Up in the upper left, you can see that it says record. So we are recording it. And tonight, we have some special guests on tonight. We have Dames on the blockchain here, Ovi and Thymeless. And they're also part of Crypto Underground, but they do their own thing, and I think it's awesome. But Crypto Underground is a diverse group and a decentralized group. Obviously, we all have our own opinions on certain matters, topics, different cryptocurrencies. They all differentiate. Everybody in our group contributes in one way or another, so it's kind of cool. And we all kind of try to have the same mindset and whatnot. Um, but yeah, let's get this thing rolling here. Welcome, ladies. Um, oh,
Hey, Wolf.
I don't have any air horns or anything tonight or anything like that. I have, but for whatever
Oh,
reason,
no,
my computer is now. Uh,
no sound
yeah, it's
effects.
not. It's not letting me roll it out, but definitely appreciate you two coming on. Uh, give me 1 second.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Sorry, my wife's not feeling good tonight, so. Um, but yeah, appreciate you ladies coming on. I figured this is a real good thing to have you guys up here, especially in on the with the Dames on the blockchain, uh, profile on there. But yeah, let's. We got so much to go over tonight. For future listeners and those of you that are here tonight, we're gonna take it one step at a time tonight. And roll through it. If I sound kind of out of it, I am right now, so I do a little apologize on that. But we'll keep this thing rolling. But did you ladies want to say anything real quick? I took off my headset for a second to talk to my wife. So, um, did you guys introduce yourself, or why don't you go ahead and introduce you guys self and how you guys came together and how Dames on the blockchain formed?
All right.
Just roll through.
Oculus, you go first. Go ahead, Oculus.
I met Timeless, as another crypto investor, and we had a lot of things in common. Obsessed with crypto, and we spent a lot of time actually discussing it. And I wanted to just talk about crypto, how we talk about it, just like a regular conversation. And I felt that she would be perfect for it. Um, no fluff, just straight to the point, because that's how me and her are. So, decided to hop on a space one day, and people loved it. So we kept it going, and we started this in February of this year, and we're still going strong. So that's actually how, Dames on the blockchain came to be. We're still trying to grow as a brand, and we are still keeping true to who we are. Give you crypto without any fluff. We're not going to make any calls, and we're definitely not going to influence you to buy anything. But what we try to do is make you the best individual investor with our knowledge. So that's basically how we came together. What you got to add, sis? Go ahead.
Hey, you pretty much knocked it completely out. So yeah, that is exactly how we came together, and we just wanted to talk crypto. We wanted to share some of our the knowledge that we have, and then Crypto Underground invited us in as a part of their core group, but allowing us to still continue to build our brand. And so that's why everybody continuously sees us with Crypto Underground, but also sees us doing our own thing. So that's really, at the end of the day, what we want to do. We don't want to guide anybody to make their investment decisions for them. We just want to give plenty of information, give our point of view, and just bring crypto news and what's going on with some of these projects along the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Well, I was just trying to give you some time. I know you're trying to, you're doing stuff over there, so I'll add some fluff for you. Yeah, we just, I think when it comes to discussing crypto, I think I've noticed that a lot of people don't actually pay attention to, political news and financial news in the financial sector. I think some people just get tunnel vision when it comes to crypto and don't understand that all of those things I just previously mentioned play a part into crypto. So, I think when it comes to me and Thymeless, Thymeless is a whiz at certain things, especially like, DAOs and figuring out numbers. But I actually like to keep abreast of the news because I know it actually plays a part into that,
Yeah, for sure. It's well, I love what you ladies are doing because you know, a lot of other people in the community, obviously not just women or anything, but other people, young people, old people, whatever it may be, are I think personally are inspired by your group and your vision. And I absolutely love it. Um, but I'm happy to have you two ladies on tonight. And thank you for that introduction. Letting us know how you guys came together and stuff. It's really awesome to hear. And it never gets old. I'll tell you that much. And it's always refreshing to hear. Um, but yeah, let's jump right into it. I want to start with like breaking news tonight. So I recently just saw, and I don't know if you ladies had seen it. Three Arrows Capital just filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy today.
They sure
Actually,
did.
this afternoon, actually. What are your thoughts on that? After they were kind of part of some major, how do we say, defaults in the
Oh,
market.
major defaults.
Yeah.
I wasn't real surprised with it because I seen it coming. They were just trying to ward off the rumors, like, oh no, we're strategically trying to do X, Y, and Z, but they were being very vague. So it didn't catch me completely off guard, but I definitely see the strategy of how they did it late on a Friday on a holiday weekend for the United States. And so they're hoping it kind of gets buried along the way. So I don't think this is going to be the first or the last one either. It might be the actual first, but I don't think it's going to be the last.
Yeah.
Chapter 15 is actually a new chapter added to the bankruptcy code by the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005. So they filed for some new shit. You got Chapter 11, you have all these chapters, but Chapter 15 is actually new. And it seems that it's actually a proceeding that is brought into another country, typically the debtor's home country. So I've been poking into that when you mentioned it, Arrow, I think early this week or last week, Wolf. And it's pretty interesting that they're actually using a new chapter for the bankruptcy code.
Yeah, I find that interesting too. I was trying to look up, what country it was that they were going to have it in. I feel like it was one of the Caribbean islands, but I could be way off on that down there. But I'll find it and see how where we end up with that. But they did file in a New York court. So it is a Bridget. It's the where is it here? A British Virgin Island court ordered the liquidation of three orders capital earlier this week. So they managed an estimated $10 billion worth of assets as of recently in March. So, yeah, all those defaults I had seen and causing all these exchanges to kind of, land belly flop out there, all because of them and some other venture capitalist firms out there. Not good. Um, which I guess can bring us to the next point, seeing today. So now that we're off breaking news, also kind of just in news, but several hours ago, obviously, we saw the Voyager CEO come out and announce that they, regretfully made a hard decision today to suspend all deposits, withdrawals, and trading, which kind of doesn't strike me as odd considering, 3AC just filed for bankruptcy. So I think those things go hand in hand. And this just goes along with the Celsius conversation we're going to have, and CoinFlex as well. But go ahead, Tim.
And on top of halting all of that with Voyager, they also said simultaneously at the exact same time their debit card would no longer work. So that goes back into some of the things that we were talking about even on Wednesday and then here last week of not always is the debit cards that are associated with these exchanges also safe to keep money in also, because that was one thing that they simultaneously did with transaction halts.
Yeah, that's man, not good. Yeah, and you got to think how many people are actually using those debit cards too. Probably quite a few actually. I mean, I do for other exchanges, but yeah, it's not a good thing. And then especially when you're expecting to be able to use your funds with that debit card too. So now that they're locked away, whew, that's a tough one too. Go ahead, Dames on the blockchain.
Yeah, Stephen Ehrlich said that this move, halting withdrawals, gives the company additional time to continue exploring strategic alternatives with various parties interested. So, these guys actually hired a very big law firm as financial advisors and legal advisors. So, it's kind of interesting to see why they did that. I think that this market has a lot of these exchanges. Probably rethinking a lot of things. And I think that's why it's important for anyone to not leave anything on these exchanges, because you never know when you wake up and they'll do something like this. They don't have to give you a warning, So it's important for people to be cognizant of what they leave on exchanges and, be aware of if they actually want to take that chance.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Tom.
And I was just looking at that Chapter 15 bankruptcy in particular with Three Arrows Capital, and it's saying this Chapter 15 bankruptcy will allow the foreign firm to protect its stateside assets while liquidation is carried out in the British Virgin Islands following a court order. And they're saying that is directly related to the $660 million loan to Voyager Digital. So those are hand in hand. They're holding each other's hands through this one.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. I mean, because we knew that they had sent them a notice last week. Yeah, I think it was last Friday, or maybe it was this week. I can't remember. News flies by in this market so fast. But I remember them. Everybody was posting, "Is this real? Is this true? Like, it's such a large number that they defaulted on." And they sent them a notice. They actually did warn the community that they did have somebody, and then they officially a couple of days later sent the notice of default, and then now you have this. So yeah, it definitely goes hand in hand for sure. And I wouldn't be, and somebody said today, I think it was the rug doc said that they're taking a playbook out of what was it, Celsius's book. However, Celsius is still allowing deposits. So that was the only difference I did want to note on that, because I thought it was still interesting. Because I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at this point to see somebody come over and say, "Hey, we're going to swoop in." Like, there's vultures all over this market, including Wall Street. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Wall Street companies or venture capitalist companies or even cryptocurrency companies that have a ton of money to come in and swoop in and buy these companies up for dirt cheap. But go ahead, Ovi.
Yeah, it seems like Three Arrows Capital actually borrowed large amounts from several crypto lenders. BlockFi, which is in the news as of late. Of course, Celsius is in the news. Babel Finance and Voyager Digital. They borrowed funds from all of these these crypto lenders, but they were unable to pay. Wow. I wonder how much debt they have out there. Did we say this already? That's a lot of
It's got to be. It's probably over $1 billion. I wouldn't be surprised.
wow.
I wouldn't
Wow.
be surprised. I mean, the loan alone, the loan alone. Oh my gosh, that was a tongue twister. Um, for Voyager, as we said, was over $650 million. So I mean, that alone would screw you over to begin with. But we know they have ties to Celsius. We know they have ties to other multiple exchanges. I mean, and it's crazy that that this kind of that Three Arrows was able to get away with this. Actually, I mean, well, they're not in retrospect, but technically, this is more of like a slap on the wrist to get out of jail free card kind of thing when you filed for Chapter 15, which is one of the newer things that you had spoken about. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of fines ends up being paid and what exchanges end up, being scooped up in this whole process or going under. But go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that that they're doing the Chapter 15, which protects their assets in the state side. And then, so they're getting liquidated in the British Virgin Islands. But then when you look at it, so they had $660 million loan to Voyager. And then they had so when it goes down and it talks about BlockFi announced a deal with FTX and noted that it had lost $80 million from its dealings with Three Arrow Capital. So now you're already over $700 million, and that's just those two, and that's not even including the Celsius interaction.
Yeah, and I wonder. I know it says it protects their stateside assets. I wonder if that's like I don't. I mean, I don't believe that includes uh, the user's funds or assets. I mean, I would be interested to know if that protects their assets. I guess that's something we'll have to dig on. Um, for people in the U.S. that were using their Voyager or not Voyager, sorry, their that had their things tied up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to those funds. But I did see that somebody was trying. I think one of the guys over there was trying to sell his $32 million mansion as well. So they're obviously trying to scrape for funds, and obviously knowing what we know now, and other people knowing, they're going to be on edge about loaning money to them because of how much debt they have. Regardless of the Chapter 15, this is definitely a knockdown moment for them. And also for exchanges, you're right. Because at the same time, it's the exchange's fault as well, for allowing these venture capitalist companies to come into crypto and say, "Hey, we're Wall Street. Let's give me this much or whatever. I got this much. I'm going to borrow this. Whatever." And then they end up defaulting. They took on too much risk, in my opinion. And now we're seeing which ones are getting hung out to dry. So. Which leads me into my next thing. We learned today as well. There was so much news today for a Friday before the week, the holiday weekend here in the U.S. But BlockFi is said to be acquired by FTX for reported $240 million. Yesterday, we learned that through Bloomberg, I believe it was, that somebody had obviously they forgot a zero. But they said 25 million, so they were close if they added that zero into the article, and not two, so maybe 250 million, but it ended up being 240 million, not 25 million. And I'm not shocked by it, because this goes back to my point of, I think that we're going to see Wall Street vultures and crypto exchange vultures, or people like Sam, who have, he's one of the richest guys now, swooping in and buying up these exchanges. And we also heard rumors, I mean, who knows? Because when they say rumors, sometimes they are true, sometimes they're not. It's like 50-50. But, that FTX is also trying to pick up Robinhood. Who the fuck knows? Wouldn't shock me. But yeah, BlockFi said to be acquired by FTX, and I thought that was interesting. What are you guys' thoughts on that, if you guys have any?
I thought it was interesting when I seen it coming up, especially after, yes, it got released yesterday and then they came out immediately. Oh, this is not true. There is no agreement. No, but there was obviously talks on the table. They were pretty much close to a deal, and somebody just released or leaked the information a little too early in some bad numbers. So, but what I did find interesting, the little bit I was able to read on it, is that they put the amount of money on the offer, and they said that would be a way of covering customers' assets that they had on there. So I'm curious to see, will they hold up to that after the acquisition and all the dust settles? Are they taking really into account, or are they using buzzwords of protecting the customers that were using their platforms and the assets that they may have still had on there? I'm not holding my breath. Just like I said, the same thing with Celsius. I'm pretty sure my funds are gone. And when we see anything happening with different exchanges or things of that nature at this type of level, um, don't I would encourage nobody to hold their breath, because you might pass out before you even get the final word of what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, you just never know. I mean, I'd love to be optimistic to say, hey, these people are going to continue to get their, be able to get their funds. But it all cycles back, unfortunately. We can say it 100 times and still have people not listen, but, self-custody. Don't leave your crypto on the exchange. And it's unfortunate. I mean, Celsius is obviously offering, a certain APY or whatever, to, stake your crypto on their exchange, and then, you got X amount of percentage per year. I know a little bit ago, I think in December, they sent out a letter to people living in specific states that, they were no longer going to offer it, and then other people were going to be grandfathered in because of something, if they were in before a certain time. So I hope people on Celsius get their stuff back. Obviously, with BlockFi getting acquired by FTX, I would certainly hope people still have access to their funds. But it just, all these, and with CoinFlex and now Voyager, pausing the withdrawals, it really it goes hand in hand. You gotta be able to get that, protect yourself, because these are your assets, these are your hard-earned money, you're trying to save up, you're either here for generational wealth, or just trying to, have a savings, or maybe you're somebody who lives off of it. So you got to do anything in your power to protect those assets, and if that means not leaving it on the exchange, please, you know don't leave it on the exchange. But like I said, unfortunately some people will never listen. Go ahead, Obi.
Yeah, I think it's just pretty interesting. Like I was just going to add on to Thomas's point about this FTX and BlockFi situation where they came out and said they weren't going to buy it, and I guess these were rumors, But I wouldn't be surprised if Bankman-Fried was actually looking into acquiring BlockFi as an asset. I mean, he's worth $19.7 billion, and he's only 30 years old. And he's like the 79th wealthiest person in the world. So I mean, hey, he could have been trying to build his, as I like to call it, his enterprise bigger, but we'll see. I mean, I don't, sometimes a lot of these things that are rumors, there's a little bit of truth to them, even if they, don't come to fruition. So we shall see what really goes on.
Yeah, I'm interested. Obviously, over time we'll learn more. But yeah, um, let's move on then. I did see Dave Mick come up. What's up?
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I was just checking to see. I'm seeing a lot of people going nuts about KuCoin now. I'm hearing a lot, about all the sexes, like the Celsius, Voyager. I was just kind of curious what your take was. It's still just a rumor at the moment, but I'm just kind of wondering. I don't have anything on there at the moment, but just kind of like.
Yeah, I had seen that post because it was shared by one of our core members in a private message, or in our group chat. And I will say, I don't believe. I mean, it obviously is a rumor, and they said it was due to, I believe, the Luna collapse. If anything, I'll give you two, maybe three. I'll give you at least two exchanges that benefited off of that, exploiting their customers. KuCoin being one, and Bitrue. They capitalized on that shit like crazy. Like I think there was nothing negative about it other than them exploiting their customers because they're a business, right? Because they're in a centralized exchange trying to make money. So a lot of people were leveraging the Luna coin, and then as soon as Luna, what is it, Luna Classic, LUNC, they took. I think they had that up for leverage too still. So I mean, they were making boatloads of money from people getting liquidated and stuff. But I mean, it's a rumor. Could it happen? Sure. Not going to rule it out, of course. Because really any centralized exchange could pull the plug tomorrow. Really, I mean, they don't have to. They don't even have to give us a warning.
No, yeah, I totally get
uh,
that.
but
I feel like DeFi is the way to go, and all these sexes are just like crumbling. It's like the apocalypse.
yeah, well, I mean, I mean, you're gonna have some that go. I mean, just like with different cryptocurrencies in the market, man. I mean, like so many are going to go away. Some are still going to be. Many are still going to be here. So I mean, it's going to be the same thing. And then obviously they'll have more regulations, which we'll touch on here in a little bit, anyways, with some new updated regulations that we found out a couple days ago and today. But yeah, self custody. I mean, that's the other thing too. That's what I always preach. If
I
you're
feel
worried
that.
about any exchange going down, self custody. That's really all you can do to protect yourself um, from anything from that happening. But hey, ladies, do you ladies have anything to add to that as well?
The biggest thing I would add to that is anybody listening now or later, I don't care how much money you have on one of these exchanges that you even have good feelings about. Get all your assets off these exchanges. There is financial collapses happening. There is the playing in the financial market all across the world. There's so much volatility going on from stocks to crypto to all types, even the real estate market. Every type of market that deals with fiat or finances in any kind of way is in full distress. So anything could happen at this time. I do know KuCoin is one of the higher ones. I still don't trust them. They have made a lot of money. They've always been known for having congestion and issues with withdrawing certain things, even when during a bull cycle. So I'll be watching how that develops, but the biggest thing for me, to anybody listening to my voice at any time, is get everything off the exchanges. Don't be like me and leave it on Celsius, because I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, get it all off and protect yourselves. If those assets mean anything to you, sleep better at night by just self custody.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually was in because I love KuCoin. KuCoin is like my fave. KuCoin has been my fave since 2017. I'm a big KCS investor. Love what they're doing. But I went into their Telegram to actually, see for myself what was going on. There is a lot of congestion going on. There's some coins that they're not able to withdraw as of yet. Some people were talking about their Ethereum went through, their Solana just came through, or this. They were saying there were actually users telling people that this is this is not actually true. And then I kind of looked at the sources, and I'm looking at the people who are tweeting this stuff. These people have 200,000 followers. People have 75,000 followers. I mean, I also want to add on to what Thomas was saying, to be wary of a lot of these influencers tweeting things, because I asked for sources on a few of these posts and I haven't gotten one yet. So honestly, at the end of the day, it kind of sounds like a little bit of bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I
You
was
mean
thinking too.
ways to short so they can make some money on the backs of hysteria?
Stop playing.
Yeah,
Are you serious? No way.
that
Not
was
an
my other thought.
influencer. Not an influencer. Come on now.
Yeah, that was my other thought too. Somebody could be actively shorting, and the best way to drive down a price, right? Create fear, especially on an exchange. Um, so that's definitely another one to go into. But yeah, great bringing that up. I appreciate that. I'm glad we addressed that for you. You got anything else, Dave, that you wanted to bring up?
No, that's pretty much it. I was just kind of curious. I'm pretty much have all my stuff on Met, and like MetaMask and DeFi, so like it's not really a
Right.
concern to me. But KuCoin is the one that I've used the most, so I was just kind of curious.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, hey, feel free to stay up here as speaker as well if you'd like. Haven't seen too many people request a mic, but if you ever wanna talk again, just go ahead and throw up the press the heart symbol down there whenever you
Okay.
guys come up, and then press the hand, and then we'll come back around to you, kind of like what Timeless is doing right now, and then we'll come back to you. But I think we had somebody else come up too.
OSU
Uh,
Bucks.
yeah, yeah. What's up?
Hey everybody, how are you tonight?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Yvonne.
Hey, a question I have is, I know you guys talk about bring bring your own bank, and you talk about the crypto credit cards. And I was wondering, because I don't have a crypto credit card and I was looking into it, maybe suggestions that you had due to what's happening with all these crypto credit cards. And then secondly, if you guys could walk somebody to completely being your own bank from, um, maybe you onboard your money, but then how do you completely just be your own bank so you don't have to touch the centralized institutions? Maybe walk me through that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, there's always risks associated. So they're not like credit cards. They're debit card. I mean, they're crypto debit cards because you're pretty much already prepaying because they're basically saying you have the funds already locked in on that card to use it. But I personally use the Coinbase card. I know others are very happy with it. Some aren't. And then it really just comes down to personal preference. So you might like the Crypto.com card better. Um, you know. There's an Uphold card too, I think. There's a couple different ones out there. But really, to become your own, to be your own bank, really just requires obviously, getting your money into the market, and then risk tolerance depending on what assets you want to get into, or if you just want to completely just go into USDC, you can just go ahead and do that, and then store that onto your hardware wallet, and then now you're just solely reliant on the money that you have in the crypto market. But obviously, you need a way to unload that, right? So that's where the crypto debit card comes into play, and even that's a risk because as we've seen recently, um, you know, we've seen some of these, exchanges like what Voyager, as Timeless said earlier, halted their crypto card. Just today without warning, well, I mean, with warning, but pretty much not, basically making the announcement. And then, if an exchange goes down, like Voyager did today, you'd be SOL out of those funds. So you only leave a certain percentage on there to maybe do that, or whenever you want to purchase something, you transfer it over. Sure, it takes that extra minute to 2 minutes to go ahead and do that. Send it to the exchange, convert it over to whatever you need, or just transfer it in USDC. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and let Timeless go ahead and speak.
So I have a different outlook with it. I understand being my own bank at the same time, and I'm a huge proponent for that. But I also take the same approach as I do with my investments. So the way I approach it is I want my value, which is the associated with assets, fiat, and different currencies, to be as diversified as my portfolio. So if I have some cash on me in the back of the closet or wherever, and then I have some within the crypto market, which is some self custody, I have kept some USDC on my card on the Coinbase card. I'm being a little more hesitant, so I'm self custodying that. And if indeed I need to use that card or I intend to use that card, then I'll move over about what I think I'm going to use. Especially now with this Voyager thing, hey, we're not just halting transactions and withdrawals, we're also halting our card. So that gives you some red flags that, okay, so the cards aren't as solid of a option in the grand scheme of things with the market how it is right now. And then I also am using the traditional bank. Yes, do we have maybe some issues with some of these traditional banks? Absolutely. But if you are using your risk tolerance, like Wolf was just saying, and diversifying where you have your fiat and kind of doing it based, like how I always say, investing your interest, Now hold your money in your fiat and your assets in the way that is keeping yourself and your interest in mind with it. So I know a lot of people go one way, just be your own bank, or no, just stay in the financial market that we're used to. I like to use a little bit of all of it because if one may be down today, I still have access in multiple other avenues and vice versa. So that's just kind of how I approach it. So that's my outlook on that.
So you would have money, let's just say, on your cold storage wallet, and let's just say you wanted to put 2 grand on your Coinbase crypto card. You would just send it over at that time, and it's instantly available. And then you would just go make your purchase, and then make sure there's nothing else on there in the meantime, just in case something were to happen.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I will do. I mean, at the most I've ever had to wait for those transactions to go through is maybe like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I can actually initiate it while I'm standing in the line at the store because then I know exactly about what I'm going to spend, move that over, and it will be available by the time I'm done checking out.
Okay, perfect. Is there any other way to use the crypto or to get crypto off of, if you have it on your cold storage, besides off ramping onto your bank or using a crypto card? Is there other options?
Not that
Go
I'm
ahead,
aware.
Wolf. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
not
so. I think we're
yeah,
stuck
the
there.
yeah, it's either you send it to the exchange and off ramp it to your bank, or use the crypto card, or you use an app like, or you send it over to an app like Flexa, where you don't need a card. Um, and you use one of the whatever 50 cryptocurrencies or 100 plus cryptocurrencies they support, and spend it that way, just by scanning a code on the checkout wherever you're going or whatever, if they accept it. But obviously you'd have to know in advance before doing that. Whereas if you just load a crypto card, debit card with some cash, or with some crypto, you don't have to worry about fumbling around doing that at a store or something like that. So yeah, pretty much those are kind of the three options.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And feel free to stay up here on speaker as well, as I said to Dave. Just throw your hand up next time you want to, bring something up or whatever. That's cool.
While we were talking, I did see Dave throw his hand up too.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yo, hey there. Yeah, I was just pretty much just gonna say that a lot of my friends that are not very hardcore into crypto, that are just kind of like using like Robinhood or Gemini or Coinbase as like their sole point. I think the biggest thing that I'm learning with them is they don't comprehend the idea of what DeFi is, and like to them it's like, oh yeah, I'm in crypto, I'm doing it, like, and meanwhile they're using like Robinhood and Coinbase. So like you guys just said, the biggest thing is, I mean, like, you got to own your keys, so like I feel like there's a learning curve still, even for people that don't realize it's there. I mean, they think they're in crypto and they're like owning their own money, but like the whole point is, like, you have your keys. I mean, like, all the money's in MetaMask, or you're on like a DeFi app like Aave or Polygon or something like that. And I feel like that's the biggest thing right now is people are swarming into crypto, not realizing what it is exactly, and they're thinking they're protected. And then meanwhile, like, you have all these either hacks or rugs or something like that, and Celsius and Voyager and possibly KuCoin. I doubt it's going to happen, but like, it's just the biggest thing is becoming aware of what's happening, what it is, and they don't understand the difference between a centralized exchange and a decentralized exchange. And I feel like just getting that out there and getting everyone to be aware of it, it's kind of a big thing that's pretty important.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
I think a lot of people have the misconception that, getting on these crypto sites, even if they're allowed in your state, that their funds are protected, 100%. And I think that's just a part of being new, because it's not like a bank. We all know that we're FDIC insured for $250,000 up to that. If you have money in their account. So if something happens, you can get your money back from the government. But just like you were saying, they don't know the difference. And you know what? That all comes into reading the fine print and doing some research. I have a lot of people who use Robinhood. They got the Doge on there. I just noticed that they opened up trading for Link on there. There's a lot of people who actually do, when they get into crypto, they do use these the Robinhood and Coinbase, but a lot of times they don't understand that, their funds can be seized, and there is actually no help you can get from the government for a lot of these places. So that's why I try to educate anybody who I know, especially if they're using Robinhood or Coinbase or some of these places like that. I try to veer them away from that and just try to make them dig a little deeper and get their feet more wet, because that's like the baby steps. I mean, I know it's going to sound like a bit of an asshole, but I don't really consider you a true investor if you're just using Robinhood. It's just like you're a baby investor, and you have to teach them and tell them how to grow, especially if you want to protect them, because, nobody likes to lose money. So that's why I know in my circles, I try to veer people away from places like that when they're investing in crypto.
No, yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. Like the biggest thing I think for me was I got a lot of friends to start buying like Ethereum and stuff like that, and it didn't occur to me that they didn't understand what bridging was. So like I tell them to do this, I tell them to bridge, and they just wouldn't bridge. So they'd be holding stuff on their apps, and it's like, no, you're not on the Polygon net, you're not on AVAX, you're not on whatever. But like that was the biggest thing. So I feel like everyone is slowly starting to turn towards crypto, but at the same time, it's not it's not as what we see as common sense is not as common.
Yeah, and something that's funny is how quickly people forget some things. So last year we had the AMC and the GameStop thing happened with Robinhood, where they pretty much halted all trading while the little guys were making a shit ton of money, right? And they couldn't stand for it, so they pretty much stopped trading, right? And then from then forth, I called them Robinhood, because that's pretty much what they are. They're Robinhood. They're robbing assets, and people. I know people got screwed over from that, and it's like so corrupt, right? But it goes with the traditional stock market stuff. It's all corrupt, so. But people forgot about that and then signed up anyways or continued to use their platform. And now we're leaving their crypto on there. And I'm just thinking, how insane are you? But that comes down also to the lack of education. And also maybe some people know about it and they just like, meh, I'd rather the convenience of just leaving my stuff there. But then, unfortunately, those people are the ones that get knocked down and they learn the hard way. But go ahead, Thymeless.
And then let's also keep in mind, up until recently, Robinhood wouldn't allow you to remove assets from stocks to cryptos to a self-custody wallet. It was, if you bought an asset on their platform, it had to stay on their platform. And in order for you to get any type of value from it, you would then have to sell your position, then wait a week for it to settle, and let that money come to your account. So even if you would contact them, and let me tell you, that is a very difficult task to try to do, is to get a hold of somebody that will actually even communicate with you and ask them how you can get your assets off. And up until recently, they're like, you can't. We hold your assets. When you are wanting the monetary value of it, then you sell that position, and then you have to wait for that to settle, and then so many days after that, then your funds will be available into your bank account. So you're absolutely right with the robbing the hood. I don't mess with Robinhood. Not now, not for a very long time. And I do think that being mindful and being a source of education to help the people that are around you, no matter what level you are in crypto, you're going to know more than somebody else around you. And I'm big on the learn one, teach one method, because that's the only way that we are going to have more and more proficient people around us that understand what's going on, is because as we learn, we give that knowledge away to the next person. It's not something that we're holding hostage and just for us, because if we just keep it for us, then there's going to be so many other people that don't understand it or know how to move around in the space, and they are going to lose at the end of the day. And what we all need to have happen is us all winning in different ways, how we're investing to our interests to actually make an impact. So us middlemen are the middle class, lower class, not these rich, filthy, rich people that just have always accumulated wealth. This is allowing us our foot in the door to be able to accumulate wealth, create generational wealth, and teach our families and the people around us. So I feel like if we just put our hand back and pull the people around us forward and just kind of show them, and sometimes it can be frustrating, but really getting into the act of helping and teaching and taking that time, even if it frustrates you, so that the more education that's out there, the better everybody's going to be in this space.
Well said, Timeless, as always. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. I think the biggest thing that we're going to see in the upcoming years is you have all these places like Robinhood with Times just said like, yeah, it takes you like a week to get your stuff off their exchanges. Like I'm waiting for like a Netflix show to come out that's like what they're doing with the assets behind the scene. I mean, like it's just you got to wonder. Like, I mean, that's the whole selling point of why you go to DeFi opposed to like a centralized exchange like Gemini or KuCoin or Voyager. But and like it's legal what they're doing because they're allowed to. But like you got to wonder like like why is it that it took you a week to get your funds back? Did they invest it on like Aave or something like that, or like what is going on? But that's just a personal opinion. But yeah, I think it's kind of sketchy to begin with.
Yeah. I will say, I think PayPal, as of recently, also did the same thing as Robinhood, where they just finally started letting people withdraw their assets as well. Select ones, obviously. But I will say that, in order to get to a decentralized exchange, you have to go through a centralized exchange, you have to go through a centralized exchange to get there. So just keep that in mind as well. Obviously, you don't have to use it any longer unless you're going to pull funds out. But yeah, or you can actually, some of these decentralized exchanges even now have the ability to, you can use your debit card, up to a certain dollar amount or whatever, through, I believe it's Mercury.io, if I'm not mistaken. They're the ones that run the transactions on those dexes, but I know it's outlawed in certain states in the United States, and certain parts of the world as well, due to regulation and uncertainty there with that company. But yeah, definitely a great point. Brought it up. Timeless. Love what you had to say there. Definitely awesome. But yeah, let's keep swinging it forward here. Hey, just a reminder for everybody coming in. Feel free, throw your hand up, or request the mic down in the bottom left. Don't be shy. Always love hearing people talk. And the hand goes up like Dames just did there. I'll always love chatting to new faces. But we'll keep this thing moving here. And actually, if before I keep moving on, if everybody could do me a favor, go follow Dames on the blockchain. Show them love, please and thank you. Would be greatly appreciated. But let's move on to something that came out this week. Go ahead, Timeless.
I was just going to bring up because Dave just kept bringing up Gemini as an example, and even this week, Gemini is in trouble, legal trouble right now, and because the IRA Financial was bringing a lawsuit against them as a potential pyramid scheme from how much assets investors have lost underneath their platform.
Yeah, and I do know that they were also they were being sued as well as previous employees or current employees lying. They were found to be lying under oath or some whatever in their interviews there. So yeah, good point on that too. Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Or I'm sorry, Lord Brass. My apologies. What's up, man?
Yeah, I just want to say you guys are killing it tonight. Dames on the blockchain. For anybody listening who doesn't normally listen, they're an awesome space to tune into. Two badass bitches in the space. I mean, they hold their own and they're straightforward with it, and we love and respect them for that. So you guys are killing it tonight. I'll hop on a bit more when these kids go down.
Appreciate you, Brass.
Thanks for the kind words tonight, Brass. Definitely appreciate it. But Let's talk about OpenSea real quick. It seems like they've been in constant trouble for like the last year, I swear. Like I just always see something every couple
Open
months.
open trash, you mean, Wolf?
Open trash. Got okay. Open trash. So the recent thing. So this seems like a common theme. I won't lie, and this will kind of touch on security a little bit. But so OpenSea had a data breach because of a third party, you know, company who downloaded customer data that handled that stuff, specifically the emails. Um, and I believe they said it was 1.8 million users were affected by the data leak by the employee at the third party downloading customer data. So again, open trash or OpenSea hit by another like exploit basically. You know, but this time obviously user data is exposed. And it's not good. I want to hear your thoughts on that. You know, any of the speakers up here as well. You know, I want you to weigh in on this if you can, if you have any knowledge on this. But I did have two emails. You know, that I got the email. You know, basically confirmation that my shit was pretty much leaked. I think pretty much any email that anybody used with OpenSea was pretty much affected by this. But ladies, what are your thoughts?
I actually
Man, go ahead, Obi. Go ahead.
I actually got the email and I dropped it in the CU group, actually, the Crypto Underground group. And I was a little taken aback, but not really surprised. And that is why when I actually created an OpenSea account, I made a dummy wallet with nothing in it, and I created an email address that was only going to be used for that. So, you know, as far as you know, anything about me being breached, I mean, you know, there's nothing in the wallet because I didn't buy anything on OpenSea, you know, because it was a little too expensive for me. And Ethereum, of course, I try to stay away from Ethereum, but it just shows that some people don't actually take the steps that I took to actually open an account with OpenSea. A lot of people use their wallet with everything in it. A lot of people use their email address that they use for everything else. And I think with all these security breaches and these data breaches, I think people need to really, really get into the habit of creating dummy wallets, you know, dummy email addresses. It's free. It only takes you, it just takes you time. You know, you can come up with an email address name. You can make a wallet anywhere. It doesn't cost you anything. And I think a lot of times us being lazy, you know, is how we get into these situations. So it didn't bother me any at all, but I'm just thinking about the people who, like I said earlier, didn't take the steps that I took to create an account with OpenSea.
So just say my name next time. Well, no, when I first was messing with them and just looking, I hadn't really discovered the making a dummy email for crypto related stuff. So it was in one of my main emails, and I did get the email, but I do have dummy wallets. But I've never bought anything from OpenSea, but I did get the email, and it's in one of my main emails. So I am actually now directing that out and creating one of my other main emails, and now that might be one of my dummy emails from here on
So
out. We'll have to see.
so let me ask you, do you have any YubiKeys yet?
It should. I have to have it went to the mailbox today. It should be here today or in the next couple of days. Yes, but
All
they
right,
are
good.
ordered.
Yeah, see, this is my thing. So, like, I mean, you've heard me preach this 100 billion times. I feel like, but for anybody that's new, you know, YubiKeys, I'm telling you, or even the Safe Key from Safe Haven, which they have. You know, it acts as a two-factor authentication device, where you pretty much lock down your account. You just plug this bad boy in, link it to your Google, your Gmail, your YouTube, your Twitter, your crypto exchanges. Even specific ones. You can go to their website, Yubico, YUBICO, and look up YubiKeys. Take a quiz, see which one's good for you. You can tap it on, you can plug it in, but basically just lock down your accounts. And more so now than ever. You know, if you're in crypto, you know you're gonna be attacked. I mean, there's no way around it. And also create a better password. But go ahead, Dave.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, I completely agree. I mean, I feel like the main thing though is OpenSea. Like, I believe they're DeFi. You know, I don't feel that way, but I believe they're DeFi. But I think the biggest thing about that is, you know, I would never give a personal email to OpenSea. I mean, the whole point of Web3 is connecting your MetaMask, and you know, you make a funny email address to sync to that. And, you know, you just lock that in. But like, you know, as much as they're like, you know, you have Looks Rare, you have OpenSea, you have whatever, you know, Tofu Ninja. I mean, I feel like the most important thing is like, if someone asks you for an email, I don't technically view it as DeFi, which is like a personal thing, but like the whole point of Web3 is you are anonymous. Like, you know, I'm not going to give you a personal info about my email address. It's not going to be like my name or something like that. But you know, OpenSea's been going through a lot of shit. I got like two emails earlier today, you know, like, oh, we've been hacked or something like that, or our provider's been hacked. But, you know, it's just tough. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, people shouldn't, like, it's just difficult to say. You know, it's just like the whole point of Web3 is you connect with MetaMask and, like, you don't provide personal info that they can track you. You know, that's my personal approach. I'd like to stay hidden, you know, but that's just me. But, you know.
Well, they can still track you through your web address.
Well, I use the VPN. You know, yeah, true. They still can. I mean, I'm probably not doing it right, but
yeah, I mean, there's so many variables, but yeah, I mean, I'd rather do that than you know, give an email address or something. But you know, it is unfortunate. It does happen, especially like I wish these companies would like. I mean, I understand there's maybe not a lot of employees at some of these places, but I really wish they had handled the stuff in house. You know, what does it take? An extra team of like a couple of people to handle that shit? I mean, handle it all in house. I
and then
mean,
I and then on top of that, they're getting a percent of fees and trade souls.
yeah,
They obviously have the cash.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it also doesn't help that they were, you know, you're right. They've been under the gun though. I mean, insider trading, you know, and then they had that exploit. You know, I think was it either the beginning of the year or it was late last year. So I mean, there's just so many things. But they're not the only ones that you know this kind of things happen to. I mean, Tracer, a hardware wallet cryptocurrency company, um, where they were using a third party, and that third party leaked data information. So, and this goes back to some other things that I've talked about in the past. But when you're using a third party, you're opening up a can of worms, you know, because you can't put the lid back on that shit once it happens. Whereas if it was in house, maybe you could cut something off. Um, you know, but there's a secret agenda to these third parties because these people are probably not making a lot of money. And then this is their way of making that extra money, you know, because you don't know what kind of third party company it is. But we also did have Quixotic, I think was another NFT marketplace that suffered an exploit this week, where a hacker was able to steal a bunch of approved ERC20 tokens. So there's another, you know, NFT marketplace that was affected this week as well by something else, obviously. But go ahead, Timeless.
I was just going to say, FYI, for the people that were listening, and Oculus has shared the YubiKey post that Wolf had put up a couple days ago. So it's up in the nest if you just want to click on it and get some more information about what Wolf was just talking about.
Yeah, so that's the YubiKey, and then I think it was like a mini thread, but and then there's a safe key. So yeah, so yeah, both great for you know, protecting your accounts. Um, and YubiKey hasn't had any, or Yubico, I guess you should say, the company there hasn't had any data breaches or anything. Like they haven't had anybody able to break into any of their accounts, whether it's, you know, personal, enterprise, you know, and governmental, because they do a lot of government work too. But go ahead, Dave.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say this is a funny example, but when I first got into crypto, you know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So like you know, you have all these coins that are appearing on Twitter, you have people just pumping them up and you're like, oh, I need to get this, I need to get that. I recall when I first got started, I bought into this one. It was called Come Rocket or some shit like that. And it was like apparently gonna be like the OnlyFans, but like it's the payment thing. And I thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, okay, yeah. And I gave them my email address, and then a month later, they sent out like a memo, and legit, the string of the emails was like 400,000, and it was like none of the emails were blocked, so everyone saw my email. Like it's just little things like that with like crypto that you gotta watch out for. But they didn't beat, and like I guess it's BBC. They didn't blindside the email, so they sent out a mass email, and I got an email back from the guy like, "Oh, yo, hey, you guys realize you didn't block out the emails," and like just tons of emails flowing around. Like, okay, well now they know who I am.
Yeah, that's never a good thing. Yeah, you got to play it careful. I mean, Dames on the blockchain said, or OV, who's running the account right now. Just create a fake email or whatever. Dummy accounts or whatever, just so you don't have to run into something. Because if it is in a main account, it really is crappy if that happens. But we live and we learn. Go ahead, OSU.
Yeah, and I had a similar issue too. Coming in new, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't use a main email account. I used a secondary one. However, I do something else with that secondary email account as well. So my question is, for my crypto accounts, should I just, can you go in, would you recommend go in and just change the email to something different? Or should I just close down that whole account and open up a whole new account with a new email totally for all my
Yeah.
for all my crypto accounts?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You should always. I think it's always a good idea to have a separate email for all your crypto related access things. Maybe even a couple of them is smart as well. When you can go ahead and update, your email, which would be smart. But unfortunately, because it'll mark that notation in the account, and that old email will still be somewhere stored on the data, somewhere stored on the server basically in data because it's never really deleted. But it is updated, obviously. So unfortunately, even if you went to go create a new account or whatever, and with a new email or whatever, if it didn't for whatever reason let you change it on the current one, they would still have records of that old email address even though you updated it.
Okay. And then also, I also wanted to get a YubiKey, and I looked at it last time, but now I actually have the money to get it. And so one of the things I did when I looked at it, I was confused on which one to get, because I have an Android phone, and I
Yeah.
just have like the regular, I have a Lenovo, I think it's a Lenovo computer. So I wasn't sure which one would be best for me.
Right. Yeah. There is a quiz on there, but they have the YubiKey 5 series ones. And let me pull it up real quick here for you because it really depends on if your computer has like the USB-C function on it, which is kind of like that oval looking plug. Or is it just USB? Because that'll really determine which one you get when you go ahead and get one. And I always recommend it when you do go get one that you buy two at the same time, just so you have a backup. But you could easily go with like one of their most popular ones, which are like 25, $29. They have one with just the USB, or if you want to use the one with your phone, it's $29. So I mean, and they're the ones that look blue. I can privately message you that as well, so
Okay.
that way you have that. I'll do that here in a couple minutes, but
Yeah.
yeah, but there's different ones. So you got to figure out, also does your phone have the oval USB hookup on it as well? And if your computer does too, then you can buy just that one instead of having two separate ones, the USB and then the USB-C. But definitely, I'll send it to you so you can look at them, and then you can obviously decide from there, which ones work
I'm not
best for
sure if
you.
I have the USB. I was looking to see if I have that oval, but I think it's a USC.
Okay, yeah, that's the standard nowadays for most Android phones and computers, but it also depends on how old the computer is as well. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I just send it to you as well. So there you go. But yeah, did you have any other questions?
Uh, no, I can
Okay.
say I know last time we were just a comment. Last time you guys were talking about the housing markets and stuff like that, and I really couldn't talk because I was in a too much of a noisy place. But literally for the past 12 months, we have just been having all our real estate agents go through being certified and training to make sure that we can handle all the folks that are going to go in foreclosure. So and short their house. And so that was from last week, but I just wanted to bring it up that this is what
Yeah.
we're doing here.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, you're a big help last week. I mean, I know you were able to chime in very little, but it was awesome to hear that because, I caught up with my friend who works, for JP Morgan, and they work in the mortgage department, and they were telling me, like they went from having hundreds of cases down to having like single-digit cases. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, what? And that was, and that was funny enough that they came out and said, they were restructuring and laying off over 1,000 people within JP Morgan, in the mortgage department specifically. And a lot of people, like I was saying last week, got shifted over to like the credit card. It was a lot of underwriters too that were shifted over to the credit card departments because they're expecting more credit cards to be, because people are going to need a way to pay for things. So they're already expecting more people to apply for credit cards and things like that. So not shocking with the way the economy is right now and that things. But I definitely appreciate your information and that information that you said tonight as well. So thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, let's move on. Let's keep this thing rolling. We're about an hour in right now. Other information all week. I feel like I have like 5 months worth of information to talk about tonight, and just for just 1 week. It's insane. But let's talk about another one. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, says once more, we'll leave the U.S. if we lose. I thought that was interesting. He brought it up before. And said that in the past. They just re-signed a lease out in San Francisco, obviously, to keep, using the building that they're currently in. And then I'm surprised they kind of haven't done it already, in my opinion, because we've heard numerous times over that 90% of their business is out of the United States. So it only makes sense if they went somewhere like the UK, or even Canada, or even over to Japan. Where they're heavily supported. So I don't know if you ladies have anything to add to that or not. But the thing that I'm going to attach to that is the XRP MasterCard debit card ceasing operations on July 15th through Global ID. And I thought that was interesting as well, that's kind of like weird that Global ID is kind of like ceasing that operation and some of their well, pretty much all their card programs for now. But the XRP specifically one kind of caught my eye. So what's your thoughts on that, if you guys have anything to add?
I think for me, it's just like, I feel like when any company, no matter what they are, this is not just XRP, when they start doubling down on the things that they've said before, especially when it comes to a lawsuit. Well, if we lose, we're leaving. And then you double down again when the markets are bad. A part of me believes not, and this has nothing to do with XRP by itself, but the fact of the matter is when you start having the higher ups double downing on their comments and revisiting it and saying it again over and over, to me, I feel like a part of them believes that they may potentially lose this lawsuit. So that's really all I have to add to that, because XRP is not really one that I follow closely. I'm not invested. I'm not emotionally invested. So I just look at the comings and goings of it, and that's about it on my aspect. What about you, Ovi?
I kind of feel the same way you do. Honestly, it's kind of like, to me, it's like, so fucking what? You're gonna leave. What do you think? I don't understand what he was actually trying to achieve with saying that. What is that, like a threat to? I don't know. I just don't understand that. And then I hear that there's a new lease in San Francisco, so it just sounds kind of like frustration with what's going on with the litigation. and how long it's taking. And it seems like, litigation is something um, that's very trying. It wears you down. So maybe it just sounds like frustration. But I'm like you. I'm not really an XRP follower. I don't have any of it. I have about 32 actually on a ledger somewhere. So it's not really my thing. So I don't really follow it at all. But good luck to those who actually do invest in XRP. And I actually do hope that there is a resolution to the case, because Gensler is on this witch hunt, and he feels like a lot of these coins out here are securities. And he says it often. He doesn't feel like Bitcoin is a security. He feels like Bitcoin is a commodity, if I'm not mistaken. So we shall see what goes on. But I do think this case is going to actually be the catalyst for a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely Gensler is definitely out there. He reminds me of the guy from The Simpsons, the bald guy there.
No,
Mr. Burns.
Yeah, that's Mr. Burns. That's what that guy reminds me of. Evil fuck, right? But it's like, yeah, so what? At the same time, and for people that are worried about buying XRP, or you're looking to purchase it in the United States, there are ways around it. Just do your research and you'll find a way. There's several decentralized exchanges, whether it be StealthX, Simple Swap, and multiple other, out there, even KuCoin, Bitrue, where you can go ahead and still purchase that. Just get yourself a VPN and you can do all that stuff. But if there's a will, there's a way. But let's hear from Lord Brass.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a threat. If anything, a fake threat though, because do I actually think they're gonna leave? No, we've heard this shit before. You know what I mean? They want to be established in the States and be the front runner in the States, but I don't know why they wouldn't leave, because majority of their business is outside of the States, and if anything, just going through all this bullshit has only like stifled their innovation and put them back a bit. I think you think of where XRP could have been if they were anywhere else with better crypto regulations and stuff. Like, they could be flying to new levels right now, and it's just holding them back like crazy. Being in the States, they're so slow.
Yeah, I completely agree 100% with that, because the United States is really holding a lot of things back when it comes to crypto innovation. Really try, and even the EU. I'm sorry, but even the EU is, and even Canada, which I was kind of shocked to see that they were even opening up a headquarters up there. It's like, okay, you're opening up an engineering headquarters inside, where was it, Toronto, Canada, or something like that. But they also have strict regulations now up in the province of Ontario. So, it's just, I don't know. Some of these moves I don't understand, but companies will do what they're going to do, and then we'll learn more further down the road how that affects them later on, obviously. But I definitely think that a lot of these companies would be doing better outside of the U.S. Specifically, go to Singapore, or where most of these projects launch most of the time, because of the lack of regulations and things like that. But I'm surprised they haven't open like actually put like just their headquarters in Japan by now. In my opinion, I think that would probably be their place. But yeah, we'll see how everything goes down the road. I'll breeze right through this, because I know we don't really have to talk about XRP or anything like that. But I did want to update everybody. Another update on the Flare update, as I read further into it from last week. Their observation mode starts on or around July 11th, from what I read, when their Genesis thing comes out. And that observation mode, okay, drum roll, will last approximately 8 or so weeks, if all goes well, okay, which I'm leaning towards maybe not, because of how long this is just fucking taking. Month number 19 since the snapshot, for anybody who was wondering for an exact number. Then if all goes well, then we'll get the distribution of the initial 15% of the Flare airdrop, and then another 6 months after that, then you get, after they've initially sent out that 15%, then they send out some of the other coins. So definitely waiting on Flare. I don't think it. I mean, we'll see what it does. I've already said to you guys before, I'm dumping my coins. So nothing new there, I guess, except for the observation mode and letting you guys know, no, it's not July 4th, okay? Sorry. You know, you can wait a little bit longer. Patience, okay? Well, I mean, it is funny though, because like everybody was saying July 4th. I saw all these infographics coming out, July 4th, July 4th, July 4th, and then I was reading. I was like, dude, they literally just said wait a week until we officially have the details. And everybody was just putting out other things and whatever, and then they said July 4th, and that's all they read to. And I'm like, well, if you went down a little bit further, you would have saw that there's an observation mode that says 8 weeks if all goes well. Then we get them, you know. So then another 2 months after that. So not exactly July 4th, but more like August, September, if all goes well. But wouldn't shock me if we wait until the end of the whatchamacallit, the lawsuit here that we got going. But yeah,
And then not even all your coins.
yeah, it's not even all your coin. It's your initial 15, right? So.
Wait a minute. Does BitTrue still have that IOU on Flare? Because
yes, they do. So actually, people that did that actually made out pretty well, because they got their IOU. Yeah, they got their IOUs, which was actually really, now in retrospect, looking back, because I did the self-custody claim.
I got slammed. I got slammed by an influencer when I did the IOU.
Guess what?
Look who's sitting pretty right now.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that, because didn't it went over $1. Exactly. It went over $1. Yeah. So if you had sold when it was up over $1, you know, you're making pretty good money depending on how many, you know, tokens you had or whatever. But you know, looking at it now, obviously not. But yeah.
I need that boss theme music, Wolf. Boss.
My sound part is not. It's not. Whatever. It's not working tonight. I wish it could. If I get it up, I'll throw it up. So I apologize on that. But yeah, so let's move on from the XRP talk and the Flare talk, because we can laugh. Where is it here? Bitcoin's back under 20. You know, not shocking, but you could have fooled me. Because what was it, yesterday after the monthly close, which we closed below the 200 MA again, I believe. You know, I saw all the bullish tweets saying 30K, let's go. Like, people, you would have never guessed we were in a bear market yesterday for like 2 hours, or at least an hour, before prices came back down under 20K. Give us 1 second here. We had some technical difficulties here with Dames on the blockchain. Get her back up here. But yeah, you could have fooled me. Thymeless, did you, or anybody up here on the speaker panel, did you guys see any of those bullish tweets coming out yesterday?
Oh, I sure as hell seen it. I told you all we hit the bottom. Now we're going up to 20. The next target is 28,000. Then we'll be above 30. I was like, yeah, well, let's take it the other direction. It's just like when you see the quick wick up green candles that fucking just slam back down for those bull traps. It's like essentially that. I was over here laughing because I really don't think we've hit the bottom.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we still have one of my targets on hit, my range, 9 to 12K, that I think we could go as low as. But you know, I was looking at the charts yesterday, and I'm like, okay. I don't think that this is just okay. We'll see how long this lasts, and then I think it only lasted like 2 hours, and then we immediately went down to like 19, because we got the grayscale information, which we're gonna go into here next. But we got the grayscale news, where they were denied the trust over to the ETF conversion. So and then you saw, you know, Ovi, can you just say his name for me? Can you just say that guy's name real quick?
I think it's Michael Sonnenschein.
Okay. Yeah, I can't pronounce it for the life of me, so I'm not gonna, because you guys are gonna hear me stutter. So I don't want to spend all night trying to pronounce his last name. But they fired right back, and they had that lawsuit right in their back there. So let's talk about that for a second. You know, Grayscale has been trying for the last several months to get their trust over to an ETF. What are your thoughts on that and the lawsuit? Let's hear it.
Well, I will just say on Wednesday, because that's when we were live and you were up there talking with us, and the breaking news came out that they were denied. And we've all been hearing over and over from Grayscale, if we get denied, we're taking them to court. And no shit. It took 10, they had that shit folded up in their back pocket. They did not care where they were going to be in the world, what they were doing. They were prepared for when that came out, because within 10 minutes, the additional news came out that Grayscale had filed the lawsuit against them and all their documents were in. So that's extremely interesting to me. And I really, and this, I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but I am super excited for the case to actually start. And then the beginning part of some of the motions and just watching how it's being built, because I'm a court TV fanatic. I don't sit and watch it, but if I'm either watching or having homicide things or court things on in the TV while I'm doing things around the house. So I want to see how that's being built up and exactly what comes forward and how Grayscale comes about it from their side and exactly what they're going to say. But I also did see, and I'm going to have to look it up, so I'll probably pause my mic to look it up, but another company that was denied back in November their Bitcoin ETF has refiled for theirs on the back of this news also. So I think this is going to be very turbulent. I think some people think it's going to be immediately good for Bitcoin. Yeah, don't let these influencers fool you. Any type of legal proceedings is going to have an effect on a project, even one without no CEO. So I'm just interested, and I just love the court thing. So I'm waiting to see how this starts unraveling.
It's funny. I just mentioned earlier that Gensler said that in an interview on CNBC on the 27th of June that there is actually no plans for the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF at the moment. So I'm not surprised that Grayscale decided to respond this way. And a Bitcoin ETF is a tradable instrument that tracks the value of Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin ETF can and is often listed on traditional exchanges where the ETF can be bought and sold. It's similar to equity stocks. So when I read that part, similar to equity stocks, I was like, Gensler is not going to approve this right now. And he said that. So it's going to be interesting what happens with this litigation. We shall see, but I still don't think that Bitcoin is going to be, considered an ETF. Like I said, he considers Bitcoin a commodity, but the other stuff these CEOs of like Grayscale and other companies are asking for, I don't think Gensler is going to bend on them no time soon.
For sure. And I do want to bring up that it did pop up that the host might be having connection issues. If we drop this stream, we'll immediately be coming back. So just keep an eye out for that. I don't know if it will alert you guys immediately, but it did pop up. So I don't know if that will drop our live.
Good eye, Thomas. Good eye. Yeah, I think Wolf is having some issues. But yeah,